everybody. It's Miss Susan, and um, I wanted to share some picture books with you that are about loss and grief. I've been getting ready for Valentine's Day, recording my Valentine's Day circle, thinking about Valentine's Day crafts. I love celebrating Valentine's Day with little ones, because being with little ones is all about love. So why not have a special time to celebrate that love? But I also was thinking that this year, so many of us have lost somebody in our lives because of the coronavirus pandemic or just the general cycles of life. And I lost my dad from complications for COVID back in October, and it was really sad, and I miss him. And while I don't really suggest bringing up the topic of death kind of as a general topic with little ones when it comes into your life, it it's good to address it directly with the children. They know if you're feeling sad, they know if you're feeling overwhelmed. You don't have to dump on them, but it's good to just acknowledge, mommy's feeling really sad now because grandpa died or something like that. And I it's not a good idea to really probe into children's feelings, to ask them to talk about their feelings, but it's good to listen, and it's good to observe and pay attention. And I love books, and books have been this a great source of for me in my own life and as a teacher. Stories, the power of stories is just so great. So stories are wonderful to help children and adults process loss and deal with grieving. So I thought I would share, these are books that I happen to have in my own book collection. So I don't know if they're the best or the newest. I'm sure they're not the newest, but I thought I would share some of these with you in case you're looking for some books to share with your little one if you have experienced some loss in recent times. And as we come around to different holidays and different markers, the grief tends to come up again. So here's the first book I wanted to show you. This is called The Lion and the Bird, as you can see, by Marianne Dubuc. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. It's about a lion who makes friends with a little bird, and the bird spends the whole winter with him. And when the springtime comes, the bird flies away with the other birds. And so the lion is very sad. He really misses his friend, but he goes on with his life. And because I'm not reading you the story, but just so you can know, this one ends because the next winter the little bird comes back and spends the winter with the lion. So it's not about death, but it's about loss and dealing with loss and finding comfort. And it's a really beautiful book, also the story and the illustrations. And here's another book that's also very beautiful, The Heart in the Bottle by Oliver Jeffers. It starts out, once there was a little girl whose heart was filled with wonder, and I guess that's not the first line, but anyway, she has a friend who's this man, and together they explore and learn about all sorts of things, until one day she finds the chair empty, and she's very sad after that, and she puts her heart in a bottle. And so it's kind of an analogy, but in the in the illustrations, her heart's in a bottle, and she can't remember how to get it out, but eventually she finds a little girl who's much like she was when she was little, and that little girl is still filled with curiosity and wonder, and she helps this girl with her heart in the bottle to take her heart out again, and kind of takes on the role of the man who was her dear friend when she was little. So it's a really sweet book, um, about loss and overcoming loss, but it also acknowledges, that sadness, and I think it's really important. We can't jolly ourselves out of feeling sad, and I know sometimes we try to do that with children, but I think it's really important to acknowledge those feelings, and seeing them acknowledged in a book can sometimes really help. It kind of takes a step away. It's not quite so like in your face as dealing with your own ones. And here's another story. This is a really beautiful story. It's translated from Sweden, the Netherlands, I can't remember, but it's called Cry Heart But Never Break, and it's another one. It's beautiful. The story is beautiful, and the pictures are beautiful, and it's about these children who live with their grandmother, and death comes to take the grandmother away, and they sit down with death and have a cup of tea, and talk about death, and how death is actually filled with love, and it talks about their sadness and saying goodbye, um, and there you see at the end, there's the grandma's shadow. They remember all the love that she gave her. So it's another book that it's beautiful, and it's just something that helps children to understand death in a different way. I mean, all of these you should, of course, read yourselves before you share them with your children, to make sure that they resonate with you, because otherwise it's just not good to share with your child. And here, this is a little bit, it's still got the label on it. This is a little bit different of a book about loss by Quentin Blake, who's one of my very favorites. It's called Loveykins. It's about this woman who finds this little bird who's injured, and she makes him into her baby and walks the little bird all around and takes care of him, and one day the woman falls down and can't get up, and the bird flies away to get help, and he finds the joy of flying again. So he flies away, and so it's not about death, but it's about loss, and it's just a sweet and silly book with wonderful Quentin Blake illustrations in it. And this one is for a little bit older children, like maybe 7 and up. I have a couple. These last two are ones that my friend Colby shared with me. This one is called The Mountains of Tibet by Mordecai Gerstein, and it is, you can see it's got a lot more words in it than a book. Oops, there we go. Than a book for, that's, sorry, that's the dedication page. It's got a lot more words in it than a story for little ones, but it's about a little boy who grows up. It's about reincarnation, basically. So it's about a little boy who was born in a little village in Tibet, and he grows up, and he grows old, and he dies, and then he comes back again. So it's a book about the cycle of life. It's a lovely book. And this last story is also, belongs to my friend Colby. It's called The Purple Balloon, and it's about a subject that's even harder to deal with than when somebody old dies. It's about what happens when a child dies. It's um, it's from the it's sponsored by, I don't know. It's from work with the Children's Hospice International, and it talks really sorry, there's some photos in there. It talks really directly about death and how hard it is to die, and it talks about the death of old people, and it says what's the only thing that's harder than talking about death with old people is about somebody dying young. And I'm in my life, I have my own children are alive and well, and I'm so grateful for that. But there have been children who were in my classes who have died, not very many, but it is really painful. And so if that is a situation that you're dealing with, you might want to look at this book. It's a little more direct in talking about death, and so um, just if it's something that you need a book for, take a look at it and see what you think. Um, but those are my books from my collection about loss and death that are appropriate to share with little children, and except for the one that's for a little bit older kids. So if you have books too that you like on this subject, I'd love it if you would share it with me. Share them with me and with everybody in the comments. I think it's so important to find ways to talk to children about loss and grieving when that happens in your life. Like I said, I wouldn't really just bring it up as kind of a subject with little ones, but sometimes they start thinking about death at a certain point in their early childhood years, or sometimes somebody in their family dies. So it's important to find ways to talk about it, and like I said, books can really help. So I hope that that's helpful for you. And if you have experienced losses, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's hard. And I thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.